Hey Epic, you okay?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, what are we doing today?
We are doing what's known as the magic door effect.
Ooh.
Well, I'm calling it the magic door effect.
So what's the magic door effect?
Well, it's essentially using two cinematics to go from one map to another using the door.
Ah, like a portal.
So we've got two cinematics which are from our cinematic packs, which we keep doing, and these are on the two new maps. One is on Stalingrad and one is on Market Garden.
And these are actually in our playlist now. The link to the descriptions to both of our playlists are below.
Yeah, go and check them out. And you can download these cinematics and use them yourselves in your own videos. So today I will show you how to make a really cool transition where we're going to go through this door here. And as we go through this door, we are going to come out of this door almost seamless.
Okay.
It's going to go into this room as if this room is in this doorway, so to speak.
Okay.
Which looks a bit confusing, but it's really, really simple-ish. So we are going to, first of all, drag the first track on. Now, the first track is going to be the track which we want to start with.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be on Stalingrad. So we are going to find the bit where the cinematic starts to move, which is about there. So we're going to move this to the start, and then, as you see, we're just going to play the cinematic normally, and it's just going to do normal through the map bit. But we can cut this down a bit, and we want to find the point where we can no longer see the top or bottom. So we can see the top there, so we just want to move forward, and then boom, we want to mark that with a marker. And that will become clear a bit later. So we want to move back a bit. So the next thing we want to do is we want to drag this up, so we'll get rid of this audio track here, and we're going to get the corridor to clock 1, where we're just going to drag this on, and we're going to press this mute button, which will take away this area, and we want to get this one perfectly in line as well. So we're going to disable resample, and I'm just going to find the point where, just like the one before, we have the door and the top and bottom bit of the door out of the way. So for this part, it is right about here. So now we can just see the edge bits.
Okay.
And we're going to move this forward until we get to that bit. Then we're going to move this back. And we're going to leave that like that for now. So what we can do now is we get the first video track and we create a duplicate of a video track where we're just going to put this one down here just beneath, and we're just going to move this across so it's not interfering with this video track at the moment. And then with this top layer, we are going to mask out the inside of a doorway. So we don't want to see this anymore. So how we do that is we just move this back here. Then we create a keyframe using the event pan crop, and we go down to mask. Now the door is really far away here, and when we get to here, it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Okay,
so
yeah.
we have to use keyframes. And how I like to do this is, for the first one, we get the zoom edit tool, and we just want to pick the little marks or corners of the doorway. So you can move this bit across here to make it bigger and smaller, and you can even use the zoom out tool just to get like really close up. As long as you don't click anything, you can just switch between the magnifying glass and the normal pen anchor creation tool bits, and you can just zoom out by right clicking and zoom in by left clicking until you get right to the doorway, and just boom. You can pick all the little points. And for this one, this is a bit difficult because there's a bit of debris. We're just going to click roughly about there and then go back to where we started, and boom.
Right, so you've joined them all up now.
Yeah, so now we have, if I just go to a color correction, we invert this, we have this bit is now selected, this mask, but we don't want this bit because this bit's going to be the wrong bit. We want to try and mask around the doorway, because this bottom bit is going to be where the transition is going to take place. So in order to make sure everything else is selected, I will get rid of this color correction. It's just for the tutorial purposes. We want to go to path, and then we want to click mode, and mode, you've got positive, negative, and disabled. Now disabled I'm not sure about, but negative is the same as inverse in Photoshop.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
So you click negative and everything else gets selected. So it does the opposite. So now we have this back area, which is this track here, all selected for when we do the crossover, which takes place about here. So we're going to do this in a bit, where what should happen is, about this point, this bit, if I just cut down that bit, as you see, we're going to have this in the background. But at the moment, this looks terrible because it's not that smooth. So we're going to move this back to there, move this back here, get rid of this color correction. And then for the next bit of the doorway, we're going to move to the very end frame, move back until we can see all 4 corners of the door, which is about there.
Okay.
Okay, so now at this bit, we want to pick the corners by just clicking one of them and then dragging them all the way up to the corner of the door. And we'll be a bit more precise with this in a sec, but you can just click each one individually and just put it to the designated corner and make sure it's just overlapping all the bits of the door that we want. So if we just zoom in a bit closer here, we can move this corner along here, so we've got all the sky out the way. Then just move down to this corner. So if we click at this corner, and you can be as precise as you want with this. So you want to move that to that bit, and then you want to get this corner and move it here, and finally I'm going to get the corner right up at the top and just move it there. So all 4 corners are nicely masked.
So basically you're just picking out the doorway for the keyframes, is this?
Yeah.
For the beginning and the end, yeah?
Yeah. But the problem, which I'm going to show you now, is if we go to about halfway through, as you can see, we've still got a bit of a problem with the doorway.
Yeah.
As the markers aren't going at the same speed as the cinematic. So in order to counteract this, we're going to go roughly, you can do this in any stages you want, it depends how precise you want to be. I'll do it in frames of 30 just for the tutorial purposes, plus it kind of works really well. You're going to go to the 30th frame, and then you're going to get each little corner and just drag them in and just make sure they're all nice and neat, and try and be as precise as possible so it just looks all that little more smoother. So just drag this one across a bit more and drag this one up. Then if we just double check just by going back, you can see that actually really nicely, apart from maybe this one, it's all kind of going in nicely. Might move this one back a bit or just over a bit. Actually, I think it might be okay with that one. But there, so about 30 frames, you can just see. It kind
of follows it, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's very, very nice and keyframed. Then if we do the same another 30 frames later, we can just bring all the corners in. And you can always go back and double check, and anywhere it doesn't line up that well, we can just alter a bit. So just move this up a bit, that's a bit off the center of the doorway. Oh no, that's a bit too far now. So like I say, it's just trial and error. You just want to try and get it as best as you can. I think it's the top one for this bit. There we go. And if we just go back just to double check, it's a bit
out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit out, so we'll just, for this bit, we will just move it back in.
But technically, if you really wanted to be precise, you could put loads and loads of keyframes in, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But, we've got so many little bits to go through, and there's so many keyframes, and you just want to try and make it as easy as possible for yourself.
Yeah.
While you're doing the original edit. But just keep going like this until we've got right to the end. So
well, basically the more you do, the smoother it will look, and
yeah,
more
exactly.
precise. Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want just a nice smooth effect, and it is one of those ones that unfortunately does take a bit of time, but it's worth the effort. And there we should have, up until we can see the last bits of the door, we should have a really nice mask where if we play it just all the way through, hopefully if I had the color correction back on, which I had before, which is that one I think. Yeah, so if that's a bit too dark, I'd say. Move these in a bit, move that in a bit. Just to check with the doorway, if we just press play, as you see that's really nicely smoothed out until we get to this bit, which we can just fix up here, where we're just going to click on the door frame, going to get rid of this color correction altogether. Then we can just move back one frame, go to the mask, go down here to the masking tool area, and we can just play around with this one again. And because this is off the door, we just need to move these bits up and put them as if where they would be.
As long as the left and the right are spot on.
Yeah, and then we just move this back and we can see, okay, a bit here that's still a bit off. I think with the top and the bottom bits. So you can be as precise as you want, but like I said, this is just for a tutorial, so the top bit's still showing, but the bottom bit's going, and you can just track it with the top and bottom bit. Just move them in a bit when needs be. And once they're off the screen, you don't need to bother about them. Oh, nearly. Right, so that's where the top one ends, so we can just move that down, and then that should be about there. And there we go. So it takes a bit of time, but now we have outlined the bit of the door, and now the background, this bit, is now the layer below here. Now this is where we can now get this video track, which we have here, and move it all the way across and just leave one frame at the end off. So because we can't do the entire thing, so we just move it one forward. And now as we move forward, hopefully, as you see, it slowly
changing
into the other cinematic, and as we move forward it turns into the next place.
That's pretty cool,
which is really cool and smooth. Now a little trick as well which we can do with these is, if I just...
Is this just as it goes outside the door? Or as it walks?
Yeah.
Kind of the walkthrough?
Yeah, but this is sort of for the door. This is like we've got, because you look with this bit, I'll just enlarge it here. With the transition, it looks good because it fades out and fades in like that. So it just kind of, that looks nice on its own. But there's a little sort of cool effect you can just put over it, where if we go to the video effects and we go down to defocus, then we click probably the circle moderator bloom, where we're just going to get this, and this looks a bit weird already, but you can just test it out with this bit where what you want to do, and I tend to put it a bit down, put this all the way down, and then put this all the way up, which is a threshold down and a strength up, and then you can just play around with this. I'd say you don't want too much, you want about that much, and then we can always preset this. I'll just call it magic door, and then click the floppy disk to save it. Then you just click off it and click back on, and we've got the preset magic door right there. Now for this bit, you just want to click animate, and using keyframes again, we are going to keyframe at the start so it goes all blurry, and then at the end we want a nice normal picture. Now the radius chooses how much you blur the entire image itself, so once you put it down to 0, all the effects are off. So you want to leave it like that, and as it goes down it should make it less blurry. But because we're doing a crossfade, the best bit to place the defocus would be right in the middle. So once the door shows, you've sort of got the defocus effect starting, and then you can just have it fade out. I might even, at that bit, I'll just move it back in a bit just to see how that looks. And like I said, you can just play around with this and there. So as it comes through, it actually looks really, really nice. We can also do this for the next track, which is this one, which is the original, but we're going to do it the other way. So we get the magic door, and then we put it like that, and then we click animate, and then we want to move, if I just move this out, we want to move this one about there. So as the door's getting all defocused, then it kind of switches with the other bit.
Okay.
And then if we just move this back to 0 there, so it's all nice and clear. So as we move this forward, that goes all blurry to start off with, and then it blurs out into the next one.
Yeah.
Now, one final thing is this bit here, where
it doesn't quite connect, does it, as you're walking through?
Yeah, so it doesn't like go as a doorway should, where you can it just literally, there's the doorway and we can already see that, and it just looks a bit tacky.
Yeah.
So in order to combat this, we're going to click off this, and you can go back one frame and take a screenshot of these two doors. I've already done this, which is here, named it Stalingrad doors, where I've just got the picture of the image, which with an original background. So we are going to first of all go to the video effects tab and make sure this isn't faded in at all. There we go. So we're going to go to the video effects tab, we're going to go to mask, and again, like we did before, we're
take out the door.
Just going to take out the door. Very nice and simple. I think I might have done this nicely. Okay, bit off, but we go to negative to make sure we've got the actual doorway itself and not the original image or the middle of the door we wanted. So we're just going to move these across as well to suit our needs, which will be about here. So carrying on, this will just be exactly like as if this was here. As you see, it looks really cool, but this looks a bit weird. So we are going to go, I'd say about, let's go about here, and we're going to go to the video effects tab, click the top line, because the top line controls the image itself, like the pixels. The bottom is the mask. So we're going to go to the top one, and at this top bit we're just going to move this in, and as you see, the background starts to fade out, and we'll put
and then you put another keyframe
there. Yeah, and it does it automatically for you.
Oh, that's cool.
But you've got like the little diamond there,
Yeah.
but you can also add and take away if you've got the wrong place, and you can also adjust it accordingly. But if you have like a certain point, it will just kind of latch onto it like that. So you can just, it's a bit easy, but we're going to put this one here, wherever it's gone. Yeah, that was the right place. So now, if I play this bit, it should, just at this point, start fading out the doors slowly.
Yeah.
Just the same speed, as you can see. Like if we just move this forward, then that's almost flawless.
That's a really nice trick, isn't it?
Yeah, and that is the magic door effect.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask you to do now, because we talked about this, didn't we? Are we going to reverse this?
We can do.
And we'll tag that onto the actual final video.
Yeah,
or the final rendered video at the end of this.
Well, you remember there was a show ages ago called Art Attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, well there's a catchphrase which is, here's one I made earlier. So, here's one I made earlier. We're just going to move this across, and as you see, if we just play this, the whole normal footage, which is zoomed in a bit, here we go, it zooms in,
and then
we're going to reverse.
Comes back, yeah. Yeah, well thanks for that. It's a really nice way to get from one point of the map to the other, but using video effects to actually show that rather than actually sort of like running around, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's also a nice way to get from one map to the other.
Yeah,
which is really
I like
cool.
that.
So
that's cool. I think I'm going to put that in my handbook of video effects to do now.
Yeah,
and
you can try yourself, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like we said, if you want the cinematics, they'll be in the description below. So thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. Thanks D4Dad for joining me.
Thanks for helping out again today.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool.
It's always nice to do these tutorials, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Epic. Bye.
Bye.